attention, it's because I'm sharing out the broadcast.
Well, it's a little fucked up, Jeremy.
All right. Waiting for it to pop up. There we
Oh,
go.
can I say bad words?
Oh, all you want.
Okay.
I marked those shows as explicit. That's all. But welcome to the second episode of Paranormal: The New Normal for tonight. Which my podcasters are gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" But that's that's just what it is. So that's because I live stream every time I do a show on Parapost Network. Go check them out live. They're even better to see my beautiful face in person. But and yes, I look like Bigfoot to some degree. But my guest tonight is a co-host slash former co-host of a show I was on called TBA, which is in hiatus at this moment, but it may return in the future. I don't know yet. We'll see. Maybe in a few months. I gotta figure stuff out. But Sabrina Malachowski, did I just butcher that name or no?
You butchered it a little bit, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't even want to use that last name I don't like it. But it's Malachowski.
Well, what's the name you prefer?
My handle name. I like the frost. I like frost. I feel like, you know, snowflakes. Frost.
Okay, well, my guest is Catalea Frost, which I do like that name, so I'm good for
God,
that.
I knew how to work it.
It always makes me think of Emma Frost from X-Men, but
Yeah. See, there we go.
but and we are here tonight to talk about, as I advertised, what happens when your children have supernatural slash paranormal experiences, and how do you handle it? Which it's a fun topic that I haven't really truly touched on yet. I did have my friend Freddie Fisher's daughter on here talking about her paranormal experiences, but we haven't heard it from a parent's view yet, which we're going to do that tonight for the first time, and that's going to be the fun part. So, why don't you, first off, let's start with you. Did you ever have any paranormal experiences when you were younger, when you were a kid yourself?
Yeah, so I have two that I vividly remember. One, which I think I've mentioned before, like my mom she had like, I don't know, she was like psychic or something. I don't know. Like she was able when she was little to say when somebody was going to die. So I don't know like what happened, but she woke up with a night terror, freaking out, saying our cousin's name and then something about a car and was freaking out. And then she like passed out. She was like sleep talking. So she passed out, went to sleep like nothing else. No big deal. He was like 5 or 6, I think. I wasn't alive yet. But apparently he got hit by a drunk driver that night when she woke up freaking out. So we knew that there was something up with her. With me, I only witnessed 2 times, and then they threw me in psych wards, saying I had some psychosis. So you have to be careful with who you say you see things to. But I did see when I was a little girl with my mother somebody like a black shadow just drinking consistently like repetitively out of a closet, just kept going, like doing nothing else. When we would turn the lights on, it wouldn't be there. When we would turn the lights off, it was there. And I was like 4 or 5. And my mom saw that as well. And then the only other time was when I was at my bio dad's. I was sleeping. I woke up at like midnight, just woke up. And then there was this glowing, like, little girl just standing in front of my bed, but doing nothing, just standing, glowing, all that. Um, Obviously, I screamed. I don't know who wouldn't. I freaked out, and that was pretty much it. So both those two were pretty much it. Um, Nothing ever again after that, and I can't say that I'm like super. I don't know, like I don't see anything. But my daughter started to, that's when my kids started to get a little more of, I think, seeing things. I think my son might be a little different. I think I just made him a little demon. I don't know what happened. But my daughter, she's more intuitive. She's more intuitive with the spirit realm, I think.
So why don't you? Well, why don't you? Because your daughter's the older one, right?
Yep.
So why don't you start with her and just tell us what experiences that she had that would make you think she's sensitive?
So there was a couple of times when she was younger, 3, 4, she started, she had an imaginary friend. And I remember when she first saw this person, I don't know if it's a boy, girl, she named him Babu. I don't know. This was years ago. She could barely speak. So she was looking out the window. There was nobody even there, but she was smiling. So I figured it was a good spirit. And for a couple of years, just, she was just hanging out with Babu. I don't know. I don't know who it was. But then there were moments where she was having night terrors. She would wake up. And then when she was around 5 or 6, she saw something, which she still talks about to this day. So it really did creep her out. When she went into the closet, she was like playing with her Barbie doll house, but the closet was right there. So she looked through the closet and all she saw was red eyes and growling. So she ran back into her bed and just like, I don't know, like hid under the whatever blankets, I guess. And she's not one to really come and talk to me. So she did mention it the next day, but she's not the person like me that's freaking out, like, oh my God, Lord help me. Like, somebody saved my ass. Like, she's very, it is what it is. I don't know. I just saw some random scary eyes. So I went to sleep. So she's not really affected too much. But then she would say things that would catch me a little bit. Like, almost like psychic stuff. Like, she knew right away I was pregnant, which I did hear kids are in tune with that as well. So she knew right away that I was pregnant. She was like, oh, when my baby brother gets here, I can't wait, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even know I was pregnant, let alone having a boy. So she caught that. She's caught, we were going on a vacation. She kept saying that the plane was going to crash. I was like, oh, geez, like, I can't deal with this. Like, after all these things that she says, like, I was like, I can't even deal. And, I'm calling my family up for prayers and rosaries and all of that because I really wanted to go on the vacation. Apparently, dying that didn't matter. So, but it wasn't necessarily that the plane crashed. Somebody was upset in my family, very upset, going through an extremely, extremely emotional, suicidal, hard time. And they said, I hope the plane crashes when we go home. And those were words said to me. So it just like it strikes something with me when I was like, oh my God, like this is, it didn't happen, but she was able to say something to make it sound like, exactly that. So I knew she was like, I don't know, always something. And, coming into my apartment when we first moved in here, she was able to feel a negative energy pretty quick in the kitchen and all of that. She didn't like it. It was by her room. She's very easy to pick up on energies and just, I don't like it. I don't like how something feels. Her dreams are very vivid. She usually is just very in tune with stuff. Yeah. So that's
Well,
kind
first things first. A person she was talking to someone named Babu.
of
Are
Babu.
you are are you sure she didn't watch an old episode of Seinfeld by chance?
No. No.
And any hardcore Seinfeld fan will know the episode I'm talking about.
I,
Babu, no, Babu, I didn't. But
no, she definitely did not. Because I think we've already spoken about it. More of a Friends person, not Seinfeld. But
true. I forgot about that.
yeah, so no Seinfeld. Name was Babu. Then she just stopped talking about him randomly, but she still remembers those eyes. So I'm not quite sure.
I mean, there's no chance the house you live in could possibly be possessed by a demonic creature of some sort.
I don't know, but I will say my son has described seeing something with red eyes. And we're at a different house, so I'm not quite sure. From when she saw to when he saw, you know, that was a little. I'm not sure, but he did say over there, red eyes, growling, like basically said the same exact thing that she did, and he didn't hear it from her. She doesn't really talk about it. I have to ask and like pull things out of her a lot of the times, especially now that she's older. Um, but yeah,
Which so, but it's two different houses, you said.
yep.
So, and remind me again, because I know what you told me this before, but you're not of Middle Eastern ancestry at all, right?
Kind no. So I'm Puerto Rican through the
Okay, yeah.
through the Indian tribes, though. So it's more native because okay, so I guess like getting into my son. So when my mom died, I was very much like I need to find mediums, I need to do Ouija boards, I need to do spirit boxes, I was like so invested like finding her. So I did a Ouija board. It didn't work. I did it with my husband. We did it a few times. He's very impatient. So it just wasn't working. So I decided, well, maybe spirits don't like him. And so I decided to do it alone one night. I did the sage. I lit the sage candles, the white candles. I had crystals. Like I did what I thought you're supposed to do. um Nothing happened, like nothing worked, nothing moved, nothing. So I just thought, okay, the end. That night, oh, I forgot that something dripped on me, and I have a picture of this too. And it was on my hand, and I like looked up at my ceiling. It was just this orange droplet. um I don't know what it was. I looked up, there was nothing there. So I got a little like, okay. Like it was weird. It was just very random, very weird. It just something fell from the ceiling and I don't know what it was. Later, like an hour later, my son starts screaming. And I can't even tell you the way he was reacting. He was reacting like he saw a ghost. Like he flipped. He was screaming. He wouldn't let us go near him. He kept pointing at different places, saying, like, I don't even know what he was saying, but he was saying, save me, save me. But he wouldn't let us touch him at the same time. He was standing up and just yelling, Mama, 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 freaking out. And he's 3 going on 4. So that went on for about a month. It took a minute. He wouldn't go back in the room. It was my room. And nothing like that. But the other types of things that he would do is when he would sleep, he likes to talk in his sleep. And then he all of a sudden started doing some weird hand, like I don't know, hands and feet in the air, and he started sounding like he was like doing some native tribe ritual like sound. I can't explain it. But like things you would see in the movies that are like more tribe related. So it was really interesting. I don't know what happened. About a month. Sometimes he'll still talk in his sleep, but he's not having those terrors anymore. But I do always encourage my daughter to be open minded. And if she feels an energy, welcome it if it's a positive energy that she can feel.
Well, the reason I was asking if you were Middle Eastern descent was the red eyes got me thinking, like, what if your family is being followed by a jinn?
I don't know what that is, but probably my.
A, a jinn is the original version of what a genie is, say, from Aladdin.
Oh.
A jinn is the original more horrifying version of that. Like the original Jinn, which they're spelled DJIN or DGINN in some spellings, but they're from the Middle Eastern folklore originally, and they're basically the same as genies as we know them in American culture, but they can grant wishes, but they are where the stories come from, like the monkey's paw of you get wishes, but you're not going to want what happens after the wish.
Oh no, that would suck. Oh
And,
God.
and they follow families of Middle Eastern heritage a lot of times for thousands of years if they don't get to fulfill like their full desire. Like they'll follow the family until they get to fulfill that full desire. So that's
Am I Middle
that
Eastern then?
that's why I asked.
Am I Middle Eastern? Does that make me? Not really, right? Probably not.
I I don't know. I mean, if you said you're from like if your family
Spain?
has hair, that's not middle Eastern. I mean, it is, but it isn't. That's more European. But Middle Eastern, it's a lot of families from Iraq, Iran, and that general area.
Yeah.
Like
No.
the desert. Like if you're from like that deserty area, like that's what a lot of it is. Like that's where the jinns originated from, and they supposedly have come to America as well because of families migrating and following them. But they're
Huh.
people question whether they are like dimensional creatures or like Mr. Miziclips in Superman, how the hell you say it, the
Yeah.
freaking the imp. But people also question like, are they just creatures who have been here since Earth began? And there's also questions of if they're demons or angels. And I mean, there's a lot of different theories for what
Exactly.
jinn are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's so many. I've talked to many mediums, many people, and they can never give me the proper like answers I need. I saw one medium that was able to point my daughter out, and because I took her, she wanted to go see what it was about. I let the medium know that a child will be with me, um, to make things safe. So she, my door just opened by itself. So yeah, that happens actually too. My door just opens, and I don't know what that was
No,
about.
no open windows, no air conditioning running that could push it open.
No, it's quiet.
All right, that's well. I mean,
It's
I
gonna
I
happen.
know in my house that when I'm talking paranormal stuff, sometimes the spirits in my house like to come out and like let me know they're around. But
Around. Yeah, I mean, I get that, and then but the Ouija board didn't work. Why didn't? But then people are like, well, it did. It just didn't say anything, but it let you know its presence with like the droplet, and then your son freaking out. I'm like, but then why wouldn't it move and tell me how?
that's my next question right there is what in good sense made you think it's ever a good idea to mess with a Ouija board? The
Listen,
amount of
I
horror stories that start with, "Oh, we bought a Ouija board."
I got desperate. I guess desperation when you just want to reach a loved one can really do that to you. And it hasn't like nothing crazy besides doors sometimes, and like sometimes my son's toys will go off. Um but other than that, like nothing crazy happens. It's like well, I mean my son was a little crazy, but that seems to be over with too. I don't know. But my daughter sometimes says that she can feel energy. She just doesn't see anything.
Well, I mean, she may be at the very beginning of a life of being sensitive to this type of stuff, and
Yeah.
she may, as she gets older, if she nurtures it, it will develop.
Yeah. I mean, I told her to. I'm not like, "Oh my god, like you're crazy." Like I said, when I was mentioning things, they were saying that I had psychosis and needed to be on medications for hallucinating. And I wasn't. And I know what I saw. And still to this day, like I'll say what I saw, and there's the two incidences. Aside from, doors and stuff, but that's more like here. I've never experienced really much else. But yeah, I mean, it's been definitely weird to have children that are more in tune, but my daughter is definitely in tune. My son has a huge imagination. So sometimes you have to, like, I don't know, pick which one is real type of thing. Like, what's he really talking about? But he was shaking. Like, he would actually be hyperventilating and shaking. So that's when I know it's like it's legit. It's real.
Which are you sure? I mean, are you sure he just has a big imagination and it's that not that he's sensitive too? I mean, it usually runs in genetics.
Well, with him, he likes to say that there was a big scary monster that ate his foot last night. So I think that that's a big, unless he's trying to say there was a big scary monster that was like, trying to grab his foot. Like maybe he's trying to say something else, but like exaggerates it. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Never know.
it could be a creepy Monsters Inc. theory, but
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, well, I mean, there are stories going back 50, 60 years of kids seeing things in their rooms their whole life when when it's dark and they go to sleep, and they're just awake in the room and they see something, but they can't scream or yell because they're paralyzed by fear. So,
I yell. I yelled both. I think the first time I was with my mom though, so I didn't yell. I just like smacked her a little bit. She didn't know what to say because she was like, "Oh, it's just car lights." Like, car lights. So then we finally would talk about it like later after I'm an adult and she'd be like, "Yeah, I was just trying to get you to go to sleep, dude. Like that thing was real."
it's funny. You're the second guest I had on tonight to talk about one, toys talking, their kids' toys talking,
Yep.
and two, to talk about seeing things in the room when they were a kid, which I never had that experience. I, I mean, I watched Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan for the first time when I was like 12 or 13, and that's the closest I got because I kept thinking I saw a hockey mask outside my bedroom window. But other other than that, like I never experienced any of this stuff as a kid, and I often wonder if it's because my parents built the house we lived in my whole childhood when I was 2. So it was a new house, and there was no bad history of the land of like Native American or anything like that. So I don't,
Oh, like with
I don't know if there wasn't that energy or like a dimensional rift near me or something. Like I never saw anything.
I don't
My
know.
whole
My mother was gifted. I think that's what happened. But my grandmother took her somewhere after my cousin died. She got a little freaked out. Okay. So my grandmother got freaked out. So she ended up taking her somewhere to hide. Like, I guess there's a thing, like a ritual thing that you can do where you like almost like lock up like that part of you the gift of yours, and it's just hidden for a while. I think towards the end of her death, when she was getting sick, she did start to see things. I heard not bad things but more just people around her, not specific people either, just ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to say, um just around, just standing there. So that's a little freaky, I think, especially if you don't know them. But yeah, no, I think she was the one with the gift, and it didn't get really passed down to me at all. Like I said, I only had like two like things. The Ouija board would have worked if I had a gift, I think.
um yes and no. Ouija boards are highly unpredictable based on everything I've ever heard about them. They are you could not have a gift at all. And I mean, the girls that conjured Zozo back in the 60s, they didn't have any gifts. They were just messing around. And all of a sudden, they have a demon talking to them that's named Zozo, and he ends up being one of the most famous demons in history.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I did a lot of like if like it starts going to like through the A to Z, shut it down. If it says those holes, shut it down. So I definitely did a little research, but I was stupid and did it alone by myself. And that's when craziness happened with my son. And then that weird droplet thing that happened, which I don't know what that droplet thing was. Somebody told me it was some type of bad energy showing their presence. It doesn't necessarily have to be this person standing in front of me screaming at me like a demon. It could just be something as simple as I'm here with like a droplet. I don't know. It was really weird.
Well, that's the other thing with Ouija boards is sometimes they will just do little things like that to let you know that, oh, you almost conjured something big into this world.
Yeah.
But I'm a nicer one. I'm older or something like that. I'm wiser. So I'm not going to mess with you like that bad. I'm just going to let you know I was here and I could really destroy your life if I wanted to. But just a warning, don't mess with this stuff again. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what a lot of Ouija board things come down to at the end of the day, which
Mm.
I have never used a Ouija board. And for the last 5 years, after hearing stories of people using them, I am dead terrified to ever touch one because they may be just a toy that they sell at Target and Best Buy, or not Best Buy, but Target and Walmart and all that. But which
Yep.
actually, in a
Yeah.
lot of parts of the United States, they will not sell Ouija boards.
And you can actually, like, I heard, like, you can make it, like, just on a piece of paper with your friends, and it's still the same idea. Um, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. So I don't know what happened. And like I said, it didn't move for me. But then stuff happened afterwards, even though nothing moved. I did it like 20 times, like a few times with my husband, and then like I think a couple of times by myself. And the last time was when something happened, but it still never moved. But I did my whole goodbye and all of that, but clearly there was no goodbye.
Well, that truly is the most important part. Usually, is that you say goodbye,
Hmm.
and say you can go now because that otherwise you're stuck with them. But
But I did.
uh,
I
I
was.
wouldn't. Go ahead.
Oh, I was stuck anyway. So I mean, I don't know. So I don't even know if goodbye really works. I think you just let things in and they'll come in if they want to come in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just think some people are boring and they're just like, I don't need to stick around here at all. I'm just like, go find someone cooler. But I mean, they're supposed to be they're supposed to be demons. So I mean, maybe they're just looking for people that like to party and have fun. But who knows?
Misery loves company. So
Truly.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
well, if all this is happening in the houses you lived in, have you had any experience with shadow people?
The shadow person was the person drinking out of the closet.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Which that's the only time you ever saw one.
Yeah. And it was so weird. Like, and that's when my mom was saying it was car lights. Because it was just literally a shadow. It's very much a male. Um, very much a male. You could just tell because it almost had like a top hat on, I think. Um,
Oh, a
why?
hat, a top hat on.
Yeah, is that bad or good? Is that
Is
good or bad?
a and no, not necessarily, not not necessarily,
Like,
but
what the fuck?
there is an entity. Okay, see what you're gonna say.
Oh no. Okay, so it was a top hat with like a trench coat. But like kept doing this like over and over.
Well,
Wasn't doing anything else.
okay. Well, you're from upstate New York.
Hmm.
Do you want to say a city or do you not want to?
Yeah, Buffalo is fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, it's a big area. So, but
Yeah. But
Buffalo has a Buffalo has a huge history with prohibition.
really?
Yeah, Buffalo was a big city during the prohibition era in the 1920s. So,
Hmm.
what you could be seeing is the spirit of someone from that era because I mean, the trench coat, the top hat,
Yeah,
that just that's that era's wardrobe basically for men. And
that's true.
especially people who were into the bootlegging industry and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you know if the house you lived in at that point was ever a bar or like a secret hiding place for people who were bootleggers?
So I don't know, but that specific house was a Victorian house. It was like a mansion. You know those big mansions you see with like the circle side rooms? Like you
Yeah,
could side, there's like a circle.
yeah, it looks like a castle almost because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where actually he was the circle. So that was my room. That was my mom. Like it was a huge house. We had the whole upstairs, but it was 3 stairs. It was a huge mansion. So it was really old, very Victorian, gorgeous. Oh my God, gorgeous. But that's where we were living. And yeah, I mean, it was like a lawyer office like downstairs, but we were living on the upstairs. And yeah, I mean, so it was an old Victorian type of house downtown Buffalo. Very much in the like heart of it, heart of Buffalo.
Yeah, which if it's right in the heart of Buffalo, that
Hmm.
like that's the middle of the city basically, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that would have been the area that would have been huge during bootlegging times, prohibition times, and for all that stuff to happen. So you could have been seeing a spirit of a bootlegger from that era. And if it's a Victorian mansion almost, I
Yeah.
imagine that building's pretty old.
Oh yeah, really old, like creaks and everything. Like it was just really old. Like spiders would like run at you and stuff. Like they would attack you. Like
But
we
so
had
that does sound like I mean, so I may have just solved that mystery right there because that could have just been the spirit of a, and like they would have kept stuff like that in the closet because if anybody saw it, it'd be illegal. So if they wanted a drink, they could have went to the closet, took a drink, and shut the door again.
Oh no shit, yeah.
I
Oh,
I mean, I'm not saying I officially solved that case, but it's a damn good theory to go off of. That could be very true.
we could definitely use that theory. That's a good one. I didn't think about that. That was super interesting because yeah, hiding it. Ah,
I'm
there.
I'm fr- I'm from New York. I know my New York history,
Got it. I think
but
you solved the crime.
no, I wouldn't say it's a crime. I mean, the man just wants a drink and he wants to have a drink in the afterlife. I think I'll be the same way. I'll be in freaking
Re-
if there's a hell, I'll most likely be there with Satan just drinking up. But
oh
I
my
mean,
God.
if there's a
Yeah.
hell,
But that was the only time I ever saw, like I would always describe it as more of like a shadowy type of male person in like a top hat trench coat type of deal. And then there was the glowing girl. I don't know anything about glowing people. It was like a highlighter. And all she did was she stood there and was like a little girl. Um,
so base. I mean, spirits have been known to glow if they. I mean, I don't know what it is about certain ones that make them have that ability, but it could be because I don't know, they figure out how to do something special to get extra attention, or it could be a kid spirit's way of gaining extra attention, possibly. I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
There's no way I can know what that means. I mean, they say people in life have different auras, and that some are brighter and some are darker. Maybe this person has had a brighter aura to begin with, or a really bright aura to begin with, and when they died, they kept it. But
yeah, yeah. I mean, that is possible. I have no idea. It was very interesting to see, but I just freaked out. Like there's part of me that I guess that's why like I encourage my daughter because there's a part of me that like wishes I would have just continued to try to reach out because I that was kind of the end of me and experiencing things like that. And then it went straight to my daughter. So, yeah.
well, I mean, that's just no, I mean it's like I said before, it's a genetic disposition that if you're sensitive to things, the next generation is going to be able to as long as it's nurtured and allowed to grow. Like
Yep.
our parents in the 90s, 2000s, a lot of them were just like, "Oh, that stuff doesn't exist." Like the reason my show was called Paranormal the New Normal is because it's becoming the new normal. There's a spiritual awakening happening in the world, the United States especially, but the world where more and more people are realizing they have these abilities that their parents told them to keep quiet about
Exactly.
or or they just never discovered because they never lived in a place with spirits until they got older. But it's just that's that's kind of why I wanted to do the theme of this episode as like, what if our kids can do this? Because it's a big thing. Because no one in my family that I know of has any kind of sensitivity abilities to see things or to sense things. Like it's just not in my family. No one in my family has ever talked about it. I think I am actually the only person in my family truly into paranormal, like as fully as a true paranormal fan would be. But so I don't know. It's just that's why it interests me because I mean
I think
I
so.
I wish.
Right. No, I think so too. And I don't get scared. Like, when she was, the only thing I did get scared of was the plane crash, because I knew my daughter was more sensitive. So that was scary. And then kind of to see it play out the way it did, definitely like dong, like ring ring. Like, she already repeated, that she was going to do that, or that, the plane was going to crash. It didn't crash. I'm here, but somebody repeated that quote. So it was interesting, and it was a horrible trip anyways. Oh my god. But then when my daughter said that I was pregnant, or she didn't even say it, she was just talking like that was it. Like, when the baby brother comes, blah blah blah. So 2 days later, like, I took a test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. So I mean, she's just able to kind of pick up on some stuff. And they get a little difficult, I think, sometimes, because they don't necessarily, they're not as scared. They're not freaking out. They're not, oh my God, So sometimes she'll have these sights or seeings, or she'll like have an energy. She feels like an energy touching her, and I won't know that until, I guess, maybe, you know, she decides to tell me one day. So my son's a little different, because he like freaks out.
He'll probably get used to it as he gets older, I can imagine, because that's usually the way it goes. But I mean, I have spirits in my house, as I'm pretty sure I've told you before, and my listeners all know this for a fact. But so, I mean, my abilities, if I have any, are really starting to pick up. And like, since I've been talking to psychics and memes, especially, like every time I talk to them, I get like these strange feelings in my brain, and I can't describe them. And it's not like I'm having a stroke or aneurysm like type feeling, I'd imagine, but it's more like a light going on in my brain, and a part of my brain that's not usually active. So
Yeah. I mean, I heard we all have this ability. It's just, you have to put, like, you can actually even develop it. You could practice it. So, I mean, I think anybody really can do it. It's like it's something to practice on and work on, and meditations, and really trying to like get in that mindset. I think I've tried, but I'm a little too like anxiety crazy, like where my brain won't let me meditate.
yeah, I never. That's the problem, is I never really try because I'm always so busy. I just don't have time to sit there and do nothing. I mean, I'm either podcasting, working, dealing with the kids, or
Yep.
doing work for podcasting, or watching movies for podcasting. So I mean, it's just never ending day. I mean,
Yeah.
I I literally have the only time I have myself during the day is when I'm just getting food or something, but
Oh.
or driving. But I really don't want to try to meditate then because that could end badly. But so.
Yeah, no, that is true. So I don't, then maybe you always had a gift, or you were more sensitive, but because you weren't like allowed to be, I guess, like, you kind of pushed it out quick.
Well, I mean, I never had any experiences to begin with when I was a kid, because my mom would have told me by now if I had experiences like that when I was a kid, because she knows I'm into all this. She knows I do a podcast about it. So, but so she would have told me if I had any experiences I don't remember. And like I said, both houses we lived in when I was a kid, one only for 2 years, the other one I lived in for 20 years. They were both built. One when I was in the womb, and another one when I was 2 years old. So, I mean,
Oh,
It's
okay.
so we lived in new houses with no previous tenants, and we lived on land that was just orange groves. It wasn't any, or not orange. Were they? Yeah, I think they were orange groves, because I think New York has orange groves. But or actually, no, there were strawberry fields. I'm sorry, there were strawberry fields. But
I'm thinking, I don't know.
it was a plot of land that was strawberry fields, and my grandfather actually grew up playing football on that land too when he was a teenager. But
Huh.
so, but it's undamaged land from past trauma and its new houses. So I just might never experience anything. I mean, my grandparents' house that my great grandfather built when my grandma was a child, that I got some feelings in that house once in a while, but nothing ever like that creepy that I
Yeah.
was like, all right, this. I mean, if anything, it might just be my great grandfather or my great grandmother that's still like hanging out in the house. But I never. I mean, I don't know. My grandma always said she saw my great grandmother's. when my oh no her father, my great grandfather, when he died, she saw a little orb of light come out of his body and just float away.
That would be so wild to see. Like, I would be so curious on,
I
like,
mean, I love my grandma, but she is also one to fabricate stories to make them sound better.
that's my
So,
that's my
and and she told me that when I was a kid, so she could have just been trying to amuse a kid and make me believe in heaven and God and all that. But
Wait, okay, so then my question is, I get confused with you because you are an atheist, but
I
then
am I am agnostic. I am not an atheist by any
oh, it's
means.
just Freddie that
That's that's most of the Bracket Bastards crew that's atheist, but I am agnostic. I believe there's possibly something out there, that there's something controlling things. I just don't want to admit what I think it may be because I might be end up in a loony bin. But
I want to know. I won't throw you in the loony bin.
well, I mean, I've been through this, but I mean, there's the whole. I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't know if we're in an alien matrix of some kind where they just have us plugged into a computer system, basically like the actual movie, because I think that was based on real things that the government knows about. And I think we might be in a matrix of some kind, or I possibly think that there are gods. I don't think there's one god because there's no singular of anything in this universe. There's always more than one. Besides me, because I'm an original. But
I don't know. Yeah, Jeremy. I don't know. You go on those sites, there's a lot of you.
there is no one just like me. I am a unique person by far. But
There's no
I
one like me.
I
There's a one.
I don't know about that. But
Watch yourself.
yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I believe that all the stories of gods, old and somewhat new, from all over the world, might be true to some degree, or they're just aliens that came through into the Matrix that act like gods and make us believe in something, give us a reason to do what we do every day. But I don't know. I mean, that's my theory, but
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I really hope I'm not connected to some freaking machine, man. That would really suck.
Well, we're all hooked up to different machines. It's called cell phones, television. I mean, we just don't know it.
Well, I mean, like, actually, like, my body plugged into a machine. That's like a horrible way to think that you're living. Cause then what the heck? Then I'm just gonna like go to sleep and like I don't know, I guess get unplugged one day. I don't know. Oh my god. But I mean, yeah, I really do think it's important to encourage your children to talk and to open up about anything, honestly, but don't make them feel like they're going crazy. Like, I literally got a psychosis diagnosis because of freaking me saying about this glowing girl. And I know what I saw. I can still say it at almost 30 years old what I saw. And they put me on medication. Like, they literally, thought I was nuts, all because I said what I saw. And I just don't think it's right.
I agree, and I mean, back then that happened a lot, and it's just the way it goes.
Yeah. That's why it's important to not do that with your kids now. Let them speak.
I mean, yeah, I mean, kids should be encouraged in this stuff, but I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I mean, my kids don't. I mean, my stepson pointed out UFOs to me when I like a couple years ago as my wife's old house in the Bridgewater Triangle, but and when he just spent the week at his aunt's house down there, he did completely like he was complaining about seeing ghosts going to bed and everything down there, which at her house, which their house is like a lot of the land down there is very haunted. That whole area is cursed from Native Americans that were slaughtered on that land. So the Wampanoag tribe completely cursed white men after that point, which I don't blame them, but it's just the way it goes when you're a white man and we destroy everything we touch. But 100% true. But I so yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let your kids be open to this stuff. Teach them about it so they know they can talk about it
Mm.
because there's an awakening happen and our kids are going to be missing out if they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I have tarot cards and like there's like I got another thing that's called Heaven's Calling, and they're cards where you can kind of pick, and it's supposedly, from whoever you're thinking about who has passed. It's a message from them, and I do that with my daughter. I do the message one a lot, and she loves it. Absolutely loves it. She like puts her mind and thought into it, and like thinks of whoever has passed in her life, and she'll take the card out. It always makes her feel better too.
Which is it's a good thing. I mean, anything that soothes a child's mind is a good thing, for
Yeah,
sure.
so she thinks that they're talking to her. So,
Which they might be. Who knows? I mean, I can't. I've
I don't know.
I've seen tarot cards readings done on my show where it's like, and like the person relates to it so much, like you don't know this person that's commenting on a post for anything in the world. Like you can't just know that stuff ahead of time. I mean, unless it's
Yeah.
pre-planned, which I doubt it is, because he didn't seem like he knew she was coming on or who she was. So,
I mean, you really don't know, and that is why it's so interesting. That's why, like, I want to meet a medium. There's only one that seemed kind of legit in my eyes. I think that they all can do different things, and some are more in tune with certain things, but they all claim to be the same. So it's like hard because you have to pick. Um,
oh, I was the same way. I always believed that mediums and psychics were like carnival attractions that like they're just people that know how to read a person without knowing them and can predict things that are not going to come true regardless or might come true because they're things that can happen to anybody. But since starting this show, I have met a few mediums and psychics. Actually, most of the ones, pretty much all the ones that have been on this show, I fully believe they have the abilities they say they do because some of them, after recording, told me things that nobody could know. Nobody could know.
can you not say David Johnson? Is that one of them? Because
I don't know who that is.
thank God. I'll talk to you about him later. Or
It,
Jackson, something Jackson. David Jackson. I don't know. I'm going to have to message you about it.
oh, I may know who you're talking about, but no, he has not been in my show. I never had anybody named Jackson or Johnson in my show. So,
You'll like him because you'll like him. But he got really mad at me. He's the only archangel or something like that. Like the only one that speaks to archangels. And
n-
like,
not true because I've met mediums that do that too.
oh, nope, he's the only one. All right. All right. And then he basically was saying we just have to do good in this world and we have to be nice, kind, things like that, and not like be so stuck on social media, which I thought was funny because he's on social media. But whatever. I posted a picture of myself and he got mad at me, commented, "Didn't we just talk about this?" Because I'm seeking others' approval. And I'm like, no, I just like the way I looked that day. I just commented. So I ended up having to block him. But I would recommend him on the show just because things get a little wild. You'll have to listen to my podcast because it did get a little low out there, but you're into out there.
We'll see. I mean, with the paranormal, I try to avoid the out there ones completely because they could ruin a show and they can make people turn away from you as a fan because they are promoting themselves and that's the only reason they're there.
Oh
But
my god, yeah, it was so I couldn't even like yeah, it was so
yeah, all the mediums I've had on the show, I fully respect, and I think they are legit doing what they say they do, and I they've amazed me. I mean, Nina Roberts, the episode that just dropped this past Saturday, I truly believe everything she said. And she gave me after cameras went off and we stopped recording and weren't live anymore. It got freaky weird in a good way though, and it just let's just say there might have been something right next to me, and I kind of sensed it the whole time I was talking to her, and I just couldn't really put my finger on what it was until she told me.
Ah,
So,
see, so sometimes, but then that's why it's like I wish that. So you have like that extreme over here, but then you have ones that are just like doing. what they like to do, and or what they have been given, and it gets really hard to point out which ones are real, which ones aren't. Like, I've met so many fakes, and I've only met like a couple that are good. It's hard, then spending all that money just to find the right one is where I could, like, I'll sit and read people all day, then fine. Like, you guys are scammers. Like, that's mean. Don't do that.
Well, for anybody who agrees with these statements, just listen to other episodes of my show that say medium or psychic in the title, and I may make you a believer yet. But
I
because
believe it. I'm saying that.
I know, I get what you're saying 100%. I'm just saying, like, there are a lot of people out there who don't believe in mediums and psychics at all, and in this age of spiritual awakening, I think it's a disgrace to not believe in them at all. When you can look past the frauders and the scammers, and you can get a real one who knows what the hell they're doing and talks to spirits on a daily basis, lives with spirits on a daily basis, like a TV show or movie. So,
Right. I mean, I believe in them. I just think that there's a lot of scammers out there that push the real ones away. So I wish that it wasn't like that so much, so that we can talk to the real mediums out there, the ones that do have that gift. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, that's basically the way I feel as well. So,
Yeah.
all right. Unless you have any other experiences to talk about, I think we can call this a good episode.
Nope, I'm all set. That was pretty much it. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure my listeners will enjoy this nice bonus episode, which I do weekly now on Wednesdays. So, tell them where they can find you, Sabrina.
You can find me on Sabrina Malachowski on Facebook. You can find me at CataleaFrost.official on Instagram.
Nothing else you want to plug?
You can find me on Unfiltered as Catalea Frost. Unfiltered is a adult modeling site. Free to follow.
Free to follow, and I say worth it. So, I mean, it's worth more than free if you have the extra money, but
don't act like you spent a lot up on there, Jeremy.
Shut your mouth. But but yeah, so you could also, as all my listeners know, find me on Facebook as Paranormal the New Normal Paranormal the New Normal podcast group, and all my shows are on there. Go there and you'll see everything I'm in. Guest roles in all 4 shows I do, possibly 5 again someday soon. We'll see. But
we'll have to talk.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter and the gram as Juggalo Bastard. So I will catch you guys next time. I believe I have another Paranormal the New Normal live tomorrow, which there's no one watching right now, so that doesn't matter. But I will catch you all next time.